your pleasure, our headliner, all the way from the bright lights of Plymouth, we're going to bring you Robin. Put your hands together, guys.
One second, guys, 1 minute. So, I'll start this one off with a question. Did any of you see the Oscars last month? I mean, let's be honest, it was funny as fuck, but it set a worrying precedent now that I toe the line a bit with my comedy sometimes, and I'm worried that now there's going to be some crazy priest who's going to run up on me for making a gay Jesus joke and try claim the Comedian Grand Slam Comedy Award and kick my head in or something. So that's why I got these, and we've got Stoffs here, he's my security guard just in case. But yeah, I don't know about you guys, but I think Will Smith was angry about a little bit more than the joke, don't we think? Let's be honest, because just a year prior, he did go on TV with his wife and talk about how she was fucking another man. And I know that, they were in an open marriage. Well, look, they agreed to the open marriage when Will Smith was in his prime. He was a very healthy actor, he was getting loads of money. And then things started to drift down a little bit for him, and he gained a lot of weight over lockdown. I don't know if you guys saw that. And at the same time, his son brought his rapper friend into the house, and Will Smith's wife, who he was in an open marriage with, decided, I'm gonna fuck him, yeah, why not? So, Will Smith thought he was getting such a good deal, and then he sat at home one night watching a Chris Rock special, and his wife's out having sex with a 20-year-old rapper, and he's got to lift his belly up to have a wank, and he's like, I'm not the one winning in this situation. Which, you know, I understand it. This is my first time headlining. I didn't realise that's what it was going to be, and you're all here for free, like no one had to pay to watch me headline, so I think you're all very lucky. You should buy me some alcohol after this. Thank you very much. But yeah, I don't really know what I'm going to talk about up here too much, because I didn't really prepare for it. I was like, at the beginning of the week, I was like, right, holiday's done, productive mode is on. But have any of you guys heard of Killing Eve? Because I found Killing Eve on BBC iPlayer on Monday, and I've kind of just like pushed this to the side. We'll see what happens. That shit's fucking incredible. Are there any working class people in here today? I feel like there's a few. I feel like most of the comedy nights I'm like the only one. And it's weird. I had a really strange experience being working class, because I was not just working class, but I was also gay. And those two things don't really go hand in hand when you're a teenager. You know, like, it's not everyone's homophobic, but it's just a different way of thinking, I suppose. There aren't really many rainbow flags, let's put it that way. In my area, I grew up in Swilly, and in Swilly you've got two choices of flags really. You've got a Union Jack draped from the window, or someone's going to kick your door down with the EDL. Like, those are your only options really. And yeah, people my age group didn't really like me. Like, I don't really think I really fit with them. I remember like I'd always try and join in with them. And one day I was hanging out with them, and they were always having a conversation when we were kids, and one of the boys says to the other one, how's things going? I know your dad passed, how's your mother? And the boy says, oh yeah, mum's okay, but grief's really knocking her for 6. And I was like, hey, grief's not anything knocking her for 6! So basically, these people used to beat me up for being gay. It was really, Cobain died and Nirvana had to disband. And Dave Grohl was the drummer in Nirvana, which basically means Dave Grohl was like the greatest and most famous drummer of the 90s. He was incredible, right? And he decides, right, I want to make some new music. So he puts an ad out and says, I want musicians to come forward and make music with me, Dave Grohl, infamous drummer. And Taylor Hawkins walks in and he's like, I'll be the drummer if you want. Like, what the fuck? The confidence of that guy, do you know what I mean? That's like walking into the Southwest's annual Tory conference and saying, oh guys, I'll be the resident creepy millionaire paedophile tonight. that occupation has been taken, mate. Like, calm down. Like, his confidence was insane. His balls must have been fucking massive. Like, I bet every time he sat down he felt like Kim Kardashian was giving him a tit wank, do you know what I mean? Like, shit was just insane. Every time we went to the doctor would probably be like, oh my God, Taylor, you've got some horrific abscess tumour on your balls. And he'd be like, no, I'm just a guy who plays drums for Foo Fighters, don't worry about it. Like, phew. I honestly think his drumming was so good because he found a way to turn his testicles into like extras for the drum kit. You know what I mean? Like some weird Steve-O jackass stunt, like, shit's crazy. I mean, jokes aside, his music was really cool, and I love listening to his music, but there's a problem with listening to cool music, and it's that when you listen to too much cool music, you start to feel cool, and when you start to feel cool, you act cool, and when you act cool, you look like a fucking twat. You look like an idiot. Prime example, I did a gig about a month ago. It was a climate change thing. They were raising money for climate change, and I did this like 10-minute thing about not being wasteful and not using plastic and recycling and whatnot. And on the way back from the gig, I'm listening to Foo Fighters, and I've got a Starbucks plastic cup in my hand, and every part of my body was saying, throw that in the air and boot it, throw that in the air and boot it, it'll be so cool. And it's just like, you know, you can't do that. But I've really started like trying to be cool subconsciously now. And I don't know if you guys know Conor McGregor. He's fucking cool. Conor McGregor is the king of cool. I've started copying his walk. You know, he does the swinging his arms around. That shit is so cool. He does another thing as well. When he has fights, he like puts his arms behind his back like this. And he will throw punches at him, and he just puts his hands behind his back and starts moving his body. And I've started doing that as well, but problem is, I don't really get into many fights, right? So I'm just like, I thought, when can I do it? So I've started doing it when I piss. And it's like, it's actually quite fun, but I wouldn't recommend it because it's like 1 minute of feeling cool as fuck and then 15 minutes of cleaning piss from the floor in the pool. So it's just not the one. So speaking of unleashing a massive load of piss and not caring about who gets hit by the stream, we've got an election coming up, people. I hope you're all gonna vote because I mean, fucking hell, we are in the shit at the moment, and I think like a good way to think of voting right now is we may already be in the shit, but when you are in a massive heap of shit, it's much better to have a spade than a gaping asshole staring down at you. You know what I mean? So I hope you go out for that. It's concerning though, because a lot of people now have started voting Tory over the last few years who never did before. And I don't get it, man. And I spoke to one of my friends about it. And I was like, mate, like why on earth are you voting for the Conservatives? And he said to me, well, mate, I just think like, realistically, Labour are not going to do anything to tackle the childhood obesity crisis. I was like, what the fuck? How is Boris going to stop people getting obese? Starve them? Like, stop them? Make them have to run to school every day because they can't afford fuel? Like, it's not how you control illness, man. That's like shutting down Ann Summers to get rid of STDs. Like, does not make any sense. You've got a lot of working class people voting Tory now. A lot of people in my area vote Tory. And you get a lot of them get pulled in on the immigration front. That they don't want immigrants to come here because they think that they deserve to be here because they were born here. But what kind of logic is that? Because I'll give you a story. My mum went into labour in Sainsbury's and had me on the floor. They didn't stick me on the bakery shelf. Like, come on. Makes no sense, man. And another thing you get, another thing they don't like is political correctness. They hate political correctness and that's what gets them. But I just don't get the logic of walking into a polling booth thinking, yeah, you take my children's right to education and my food and my job. But don't tell me that I can't call someone a faggot. Fair enough, man. Another thing you get nowadays, you get a lot of gay Tories. You guys met any gay Tories? They're a strange breed. They're a really strange breed. And I know a few of them, and I've tried to sort of get to understand why they vote Tory, and I honestly think, have you ever heard of the people who get so depressed that they drink so much alcohol that they think they will eventually kill themselves? I think that's what the gay Tories are doing, to be honest. Either that or it's like a big like shame kink, do you know what I mean? They're just like, tell me what you think about me getting married. Ask me how many genders there are. Tell me you identify as a helicopter. crazy, shit is crazy. And they always come out with the same rhetoric. So something that they always say is that, oh well, if the Tories are homophobic, then why did they legalise gay marriage? They wanted to make us boring, like, they wanted to trap us. They were like, okay, there's this group of people here and they are having a completely independent time. They're doing their own thing, they're going against what society wants them to do, and they're not playing our way of life. What can we do? Make them get married. Make them find someone who they think is relatively good looking and doesn't complain when they have sex, and right, you should get married. But it doesn't work because us gays, we're not really the marriage type. We're more like scabies, you know, like you get us and we get really, really intimate for like a month, and then once your friend comes round, we are moving on to new ground. That's just how it goes. Yeah, the gay Tories, they're strange ones, but there aren't many options in terms of voting right now, because I mean you've got Lib Dems, but who really votes for Lib Dems? Like people who sent their kids to art school and don't want the teachers to know they're Tories, like that's all it is. I mean, in Plymouth, Lib Dems got outvoted by Green by 5,000 votes in the last election. And Green was literally just a load of stoned 19-year-olds who thought it meant free weed, like that was their entire vote basis. So here's a weird thing that's going on lately. Have any of you seen the news lately? Anyone read a newspaper lately? Because a lot of you don't, and that's part of the problem, I think, that no one reads newspapers anymore, so they've got to create really strange, enticing headlines that have nothing to do with cultural events to pull you in. A prime example, I saw the front page of The Sun the other day when I was in the corner shop. Front page, alien invaders turned my wife into a Snickers! Bottom of the page, and tiny little writing, boy 7 missing for 2 weeks, last seen at school. What? Where are the priorities? Do you know what I mean? So many stories like that. Like, I don't know if you guys saw this, but a few months back, I read an article that said, right-wing fury over M&M change. What on earth? So the M&Ms have changed one of their M&Ms, and it really sparked some fury. And I thought, so what could they have done? Did they make the blue M&M gay? Did they make all of the M&Ms black? Did they turn the blue M&M rainbow? Did they give the green M&M a dildo and the yellow M&M a massive gaping arse crack? No, they did not. They removed the red M&M's high heels because they thought they were too sexy. It sparked absolute fury. They were furious. And do you remember a few years ago there was a case in Ireland where a bakery refused to make a cake for a gay couple, and all of the right wingers were like, "There's freedom of choice. It's a private company. They can make whatever they like." But if M&M's decides to take away red high heels, that's fucked up. You know, Donald Trump. It takes a lot to get that man a boner, and if M&M's do it for him, then fair enough. Don't infringe on his personal freedoms, you liberal tossers. What the hell, man? It's just not right, in my opinion. It's not right at all. I've got something else about these M&Ms. Okay, so the M&Ms. So their reasoning for taking the high heels away from the M&Ms was they were trying to make them more plain to curb obesity in America. And I'm thinking that, I mean, it doesn't really make sense, because I don't think that the reason people are eating so many M&Ms is because they've got some weird sexual attraction to them. Like, I don't know if any of you guys have ever come home to your boyfriend and just seen him on the computer chair with a Twix in his mouth wanking, like, just sucking off a Haribo, like, just, it doesn't make sense. But I mean, at least they're doing something, you know, at least they're doing something, because most people aren't. Like, our government, prime example, do you remember when the pandemic first came around, and the first 6 months it was all like, take agency over your health, eat well, get your vitamins, and then as soon as the sun came out, Boris was like, kebabs on me, come on! Shit is crazy, shit is absolutely crazy. Something else that's been going on lately is this new Ring doorbell thing that's got a camera on it. Have you guys seen this stuff? That shit is so weird. My friend's got one. I went to his house the other day, and I've gone on the doorbell, and he starts speaking to me through the doorbell. He's got them all hooked up to his Alexas. And I've looked up, and this company is owned by Amazon, right? And people have started to buy these camera doorbells because they think it's going to give them like extra security. But they have let Amazon create the biggest intelligence network ever, surveillance network ever, in the name of personal security. That's like the McCanns going back on holiday to Portugal with another kid, but this time getting a babysitter off of wish.com. It just does not make any sense to me. I've lost track. I don't really have many other things to talk about tonight, so I'll leave you with that. There you go.